So yeah, I just want to talk about how the government is a bunch of pirates. You heard me right, pirates. They're stealing your money. I don't think people even realize how little of our own money we get to keep. You pay income taxes, you pay taxes at the grocery store, taxes on gasoline, taxes on your house, taxes on your taxes. Literally, there's taxes on taxes. I'm going to give you some factual statistics on taxes that I got from the IRS website, FBI reports, and the Secretary of the Treasury's website. In 2024, they collected $4.9 trillion in taxes. Only $2.4 trillion of that was income taxes, which means that the other $2.5 trillion came from places like property tax, business tax, commercial tax, product tax, gasoline tax, and the like. Now, 6.4 million of the income tax portion of the taxes was completely misplaced, unaccounted for, or otherwise unable to be explained where or how it was spent. To clarify just how much that is, 13% of your income taxes from last year were lost, misplaced, or misused, and otherwise unaccounted for. Also, income tax increased by $72 billion last year, or 11%, and the amount of tax returns decreased by $74 billion, or 20%, meaning they collected 11% more, but they gave back 20% less. Yet despite losing our money and using it improperly, they were still able to somehow create a deficit of $1.8 trillion. I've heard the president talk about abolishing income tax, but that's one of those things you'll believe when you see. However, if he did that, it wouldn't destroy the tax system in the sense of taking care of the roads, paying for the schools, the hospitals, Social Security, and the like. That is because the majority of these things are not paid for by income tax. I'm going to reference my notes here to make sure I'm getting these accurate. The majority of government funding for schools is coming from property tax. Okay. The majority of road repair is funded by taxes from gasoline, which is excise taxes, meaning taxes on things like tobacco, alcohol, propane, gasoline. The police are predominantly funded by property, business, and sales tax. Hospitals are funded by patient revenue, borrowing, and significant tax benefits. See, they're exempt from taxes, essentially. Social Security is funded by payroll taxes, which is what a company would pay for their employees, not what the employee pays for their income taxes. Social Security is also funded by insurance, trust funds, and U.S. Treasury reimbursements, because we all know they love to play Monopoly with the United States. Now, you also have to remember a huge portion of our taxes is paying for the government to function. So when they go on a little travel trip and they have an expensive meal, they stay in an expensive hotel, they use an expensive airline, all of that gets reimbursed by our taxes to the government. They also use our taxes to fund lobbying firms and federal employee salaries and benefits. Obviously, our government needs some of these things to function. However, it is grossly taken advantage of. This system is used by the 1% and the 5% to create tax exemptions for themselves and evade taxes altogether. And to give an example of what I'm saying with numbers to spell it out very clearly, these are the statistics from last year when it comes to the wealth and the taxes paid of the 1% and the 5% versus the rest of us. The 1% holds 30.8% of the wealth, 5% holds 63.5% of the wealth. That means that between the 1% and the 5%, they hold collectively 94.3% of the wealth in America, meaning that all the rest of us hold the other 5.7%. Regardless of that, we pay 50% of the taxes. Make it make sense. So the 1% and 5% paid on average about 18 to 20.8% in taxes last year. Must be nice at the top. But don't worry, guys, there's hope. The government's got our back. I know it seems like they're taking advantage of us and making us pay for everything and taking all of our money, but they've got our back, really. I have proof. See, undocumented immigrants cost us 0.08% of our taxes. With this new deportation effort, we're going to get that back. However, the deportation effort is going to cost a total of $170 billion, so it's going to take us a little bit of time to get that paid off, especially considering that is 43.6 times what we're currently paying on having undocumented immigrants here. But that's okay. That means that in another 48 years, we can look forward to a 0.08% decrease on our taxes. Don't they just love us? I really hope this gave you guys some food for thought. I know it makes my blood boil, but I hope you're still having a great day or night, whatever time you happen to be watching this. If you like my content, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to interacting with you in the future.